This invasion is happening now, in 2023, in Canada. The objective is to prevent an Indigenous people, the Wet'suwet'en, from interfering with the construction of the Coastal GasLink pipeline that is being forced through their land, the Yintah, against their will. The first act of aggression occurred in 2015 when the pipeline was approved by the BC government. Wet'suwet'en opposition was dismissed on the grounds that economic benefits outweighed Aboriginal concerns. But invasion wasn't on the books until 2018 when then Premier of BC John Horgan and Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau celebrated that the Royal Bank of Canada, the #1 financer of the pipeline, and other moneylenders were going to fund the project.
Investing in new fossil fuel infrastructure is moral and economic madness.
The Coastal GasLink pipeline will carry fracked gas from the Montney Formation on the east side of BC to the west coast. Burning this mostly methane gas will do as much climate damage as 850,000 more cars. Fracking itself releases significant amounts of methane. It requires and contaminates vast amounts of fresh water. Cleanup of wells will cost billions, and recent fracking-caused earthquakes are amongst the largest ever recorded in Alberta. Needless to say, fracking activity will increase exponentially when the CGL pipeline is finished. The Site C dam was built to power the fracking industry. The dam is submerging the traditional territory of the West Mobility First Nation and is built on layers of unstable shale. It remains to be seen if the very expensive shale fix will endure, and Site C is particularly susceptible to earthquakes. On the coast, every year about 350 gigantic tankers will have to navigate up and down the long, narrow inlet to Kitimat. Just one spill will be an environmental catastrophe. All processing of the fracked gas will now be powered by fracked gas, not hydroelectricity as originally promised. Then there is CGL itself. In just 3 years, it has been fined almost $500,000 for environmental violations and has a host of warnings and orders. Pipeline cost has more than doubled, undermining CGL's pre-construction claim that the alternate route proposed by and acceptable to the Wet'suwet'en was unfeasible. The Wet'suwet'en Yintah is unceded. That means that no part has ever been bought, transferred, or surrendered, and no rights to use or occupancy have ever been given up. That is, nothing has ever been ceded to any person or government. It is as if the Yintah is a separate country. In fact, all of Atlantic Canada, 95% of British Columbia, and a large swath of Quebec and Ontario, including the land that Ottawa sits on, are all unceded. Nevertheless, Canadian governments have done whatever they wanted on all these lands, wherever, whenever, and to whomever they wanted. This is called colonialism, a mindset that remains very prevalent in Canada today. The Supreme Court of Canada has ruled that the traditional government of the Wet'suwet'en, represented by the office of the Wet'suwet'en and led by the hereditary chiefs, holds sole Aboriginal title to the Yintah, that the Wet'suwet'en Nation has the right to exclusive use and occupation of the land. Hereditary chiefs are totally different from First Nations, also called band councils. The hereditary chiefs lead the traditional government of the Wet'suwet'en Nation, which has existed for thousands of years. In stark contrast, band councils or First Nations are structures imposed 150 years ago by the Indian Act. They were created to eliminate traditional governments. First Nations only have jurisdiction over their reserve lands. There are 6 First Nations in the Yintah, and the total reserve land they occupy is about 100 square kilometers. By comparison, the entire Yintah is about 22,000 square kilometers. This is the end of part 1 of the Invasion of the Yintah movie. For parts 2 and 3 and for other videos in the series, please check out the link below this video.